Hello and welcome to AMA Puget Sound Coffee Talk series. We are live right now. Thank you so much for joining us. We do not have a guest today. It's just going to be me for a couple of minutes giving some updates on the chapter or the channel and plans for when we do hit our goal of 100 subscribers, which it's been a goal for a while. But first of all, Happy New Year. How is 22 happening? How is it going for you so far? Have you set a resolution? Are you planning on it? Or are you just going to take things as they come? Do you have any big plans? Comment below. We'd love to share what you're doing this year. Any big projects, share with us. So first of all, I can't thank enough. And every video that we do, I will thank the folks that have supported this channel, whether that's through membership, through board and volunteer work, through being a guest, through commenting and sharing on social media. For those who've subscribed, thank you all. And if I haven't thanked you, thank you. We've been very, very, very fortunate to have some wonderful guests on the show, and we will be having another set of wonderful guests now that we're in our second year. If you haven't seen, we celebrated 1 year in November. Later in this video, I will be listing who our guests are, or at this point, if you're watching it later, you'll see in the description. So all of the guests, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. A whole episode from start to finish, usually it takes about an hour, and we do some 15 minutes of prep beforehand, and that's typically, checking the lighting, checking to make sure the microphone is working, things like that. And then, our episodes are typically half an hour. Sometimes they go a little long if we're really talking about something important. And then, there's, the wrap up. So, if you're a guest, prepare for an hour and we are Pacific time. So, I know we've had guests from all over, so that makes the time situation a little more creative, and, I'm more grateful. I'm definitely grateful for everybody who's given their time, and those who've watched. Thank you. Thank you to the board and volunteers, again, for supporting this endeavor through creating the graphics. I will admit the graphics that don't look the greatest, like the updates, I did those. I'm not a designer. I do want to give credit to Sarah, who has created the really good looking graphics for this channel. So thank you, Sarah. In fact, she also created the coffee logo. Oh, wrong. Right there, she created that as well. So thank you, Sarah. And congratulations. So again, all right, I've thanked for about 2 minutes now. I think you guys get my point. So a couple updates. There's really not much we can do for updates at this point because we're still in the middle of a pandemic. The majority of the time we have in-person events. And so we're kind of halted right now. So who knows? I'll talk a minute what our plan is for summer. We do have an event though, not in person. It is virtual. It's a free event. We've partnered with General Assembly here in Seattle for an event next week. At this point, it may be moved. We'll see. And it's called How She Got There. And guess who's going to be moderating? Me. So because, you guys just can't get enough of me apparently. So I'm just teasing. So I will be hosting that next week, or moderating that next week. Unless things change, keep an eye out. Link below. Like I said, it's a free event, partnering with General Assembly. And we'll be having future partnerships with them as we are trying to grow our career development committee led by Lori Jerome. If you watched our Meet the Board part 1, you will have met her, especially at the end when she talks about Microsoft Teams. So she's leading our career development committee. She would probably love some help, quite honestly, so if you're interested. So that's what we have kind of going on in the chapter. We are going to be reviewing our strategic plan from last summer because we are now in the middle of our fiscal year. Our fiscal year runs from July 1 to July 30. A little background information. So we're going to be reviewing that next month and making any adjustments, the typical with a nonprofit, increase our membership, increase our content, fingers crossed we can go to in-person events. How can we bring in other volunteers, things like that. So happy to answer any questions about nonprofits. I've been doing it for a while. So moving forward with the channel, like I said earlier, we've been doing this over a year now. I'm so thrilled. I know there have been some gaps, as you can imagine. Doing a show like this on a regular basis, it is a bit time consuming, like I said earlier, and then making sure to have the guests ready to go. So if you see some gaps, then we could use you as a guest. I have a link below for the application if you're interested. So as of this morning, we are at 88 subscribers, which blows my mind. It blows my mind. Like I said, we started this a little over a year ago, and 88 people have said, yes, we support you. Thank you so much. And our goal right now is 100 subscribers. When we do that, or when we hit that mark, we'll do a little dance. No, we won't. But we will customize our YouTube URL. We'll be able to do that. We'll probably just be AMA Puget Sound. And then we're going to set a next goal, which is a bit bigger. And that's 1,000 subscribers. And that's pretty typical. If you know anything about YouTube, what do you get to do at 1,000 subscribers? You get to monetize. You get to do a few other things. You get to, I think, engage a little more with the audience, which is, something we definitely want to do since we're a marketing group. So another point to this is also learning about YouTube and, how can we transfer that information to other marketers? So yes, I said monetization. I did, didn't I? The reason why I say this, I do want to put up front, I do not get paid to do this. This is purely volunteer from the goodness of my heart. Well, maybe not goodness. From the love from the bottom of my heart. I do this. It's really fun. I enjoy it, but I'm not getting paid. So I want to be very upfront. We don't have any sponsors for this at this time of this video, the 6th of January, 2022. That can change. Like I said, we are a 501c3 nonprofit, and we typically rely on in-person events as well. The ticket sales as well as the event sponsorships. Since we can't do that, we've become a little more creative. The channel monetization will really offset our technology costs and help with future programming when we can go back to in-person. And I said earlier that I was going to be talking about an in-person event for summer. Typically, we have in April, May, an event, a day-long conference called Market Mix. We've done 15 of them. The last one was in 2019, obviously. We are in talks with Bell Harbor. We have a wonderful contract with them. At Bell Harbor, it's part of the Port Authority of Seattle, so that's pretty cool. They just did a renovation. They finished during the pandemic. I haven't seen it yet, but I can't wait to do a tour. And we're looking at August, the end of August. And the fun part is we're looking at a Thursday. And since that's a Thursday, and we typically do the show on Thursday, I would love to do an episode of the show with a live audience. Do something a little different. And we would still broadcast it live. So if you're not able to attend, you'd still be able to watch the Coffee Talk episode solely. And I think that would be really neat. So there we go. We would need somebody to run Market Mix. Just putting that out there. Any event planners in the Puget Sound region that would love to volunteer for that. So that's where we are. So I did get a few questions. I posted on my LinkedIn yesterday if anybody had any questions for me. I do want to nod to Cheryl Tullis. Thank you so much. She did have 2 questions, which I'll answer now. Her first question was, what emerging marketing trends most excite you? That's a great question, Cheryl. Thank you. It's not so much a trend because I did think about it for the last couple of hours. It's not so much a trend, but it's something that I like to bring to every organization that I work or volunteer, and that's spotlights. uh, when I worked for the Washington State PTA, it was very important to me to have PTA spotlights where each week through social media and the newsletter that went out to leaders to share the wonderful things that each PTA was doing. There's in Washington State alone, there's over 900 local PTAs at schools. So, and that's among elementary, middle school, and high schools. So I wanted to make sure that those local PTAs were getting the recognition, um, also in their communities, as well as sharing wonderful projects that worked. There were some PTAs, they just needed a little inspiration and they would hear what other PTAs are doing and they would then be inspired. And then it was a domino effect of inspiration from one PTA to another. And that warmed my heart so much seeing, and then offering help. Through this, I saw one PTA reach out to another to offer help in a project or something like that. And I thought that was just wonderful. I don't know if they still do it. I don't work for the PTA anymore. I'm not a member, even though my kids go to a school that has a PTA. And so I don't know if they still do that. But while I was there, it was like 2 years that I was doing it, and it was just a wonderful response. And then more recently, and we've tried doing it with the chapter as well, membership spotlights, volunteer spotlights, board member spotlights. With a lack of hands, it does make it a little bit more difficult. While I was at a company last year, I had suggested, they were still early in the company, and they needed a way to recruit new consultants for this marketing consultation company or consultancy. Sorry. And I suggested, well, let's just highlight the consultants that we have already. And they're still doing it. They have a wonderful list of consultants at that organization, and they've been able to generate a lot of content just from getting to know their consultants and sharing that. So if you're looking for content, you need to highlight your people. It's so simple. And you want to know where I learned it? The Simpsons. That's all I'm going to say. I learned that from The Simpsons, from Kent Brockman. Humanity, showing humanity, human interest stories, things like that. That's where you're going to get engagement. So that's what I have to say about that. So Cheryl, thank you for that question. Your next question was, where do I get inspiration? I'm a very fortunate person in that one of my superpowers is I can find inspiration almost anywhere. I don't say that lightly, but if I stare at something long enough, I will be inspired on something completely different. So I like to connect dots. I like to be strategic and how can things connect together to make something even greater. So I'm very fortunate that I'm looking at a picture of a flower on my wall right now, and I'm like, that pink, okay, there's pink in the flower, and like, oh, okay, I can use this for a different logo and something else that I'm doing. And that came out of nowhere. So I'm very fortunate. If you've ever met me, you'll know immediately, like, I will just burst out ideas. Sometimes very unprofessionally, but they work. So thank you, Cheryl. One other question that people have asked, but not really, but asking about the title of the show, Coffee Talk. Not really original, is it? Mike Myers' sketch on the SNL years ago. Mike Myers. But Matt Heinz, if you know him, he hosts something similar for CMOs, and it's pretty cool. No, this Coffee Talk was a placeholder title, and it just ended up being used. So this is more towards you, the audience. Should we change the title? Does it work? What do you think? It's fine, I think, for what we're doing, but do we need a rebrand? Do we need to change anything? Does something look off in what we're doing? So we need feedback. I'm not going to do a survey. Just please comment below. So that's what I have. Now let's get to the good stuff. Who's coming up? Who's on first? No. Who are the next guests? Next week, we're jumping right into it. Next week on the 13th, Benjamin Gold, we are going to be talking about the metaverse. I have a lot to learn. a lot to learn. So he's got a lot to say about the metaverse. We're going to be talking about that and marketing within the metaverse. On the 27th, Ashlan Glazier-Anderson, we are going to be talking about side hustles and how to manage when you have a full-time job. On the 3rd, Tim Mehta, he and I are going to be talking about being zoomed out. We're coming to you from a video, but you're in a meeting. How do you make the best of those virtual meetings? I can't wait to learn from that. On the 10th of February, Hanedi Karajeh, we are going to be talking about building audiences. What do you people want? Please comment below. On the 17th, Tad Richardson is going to be joining us, and we're going to be talking about, I don't have a title yet, but we're going to be talking specifically about marketing within the Negro Baseball League. There are things that I am excited to learn. I don't know much about baseball, period. So that's a whole culture in addition to the Negro Baseball League. I can't talk today. Has another subset to it I know nothing about. So I'm going to be learning about things behind the scenes with a sport that I don't know that much about. So really, really excited about that. And on the 3rd, Mike Zaruba is going to be joining us. I forgot what we're talking about. Sorry. In addition to all of that, and I have everything listed below, all of the upcoming guests. In addition, we do want to bring back the board members that didn't make it the first time around. So we're going to be bringing them. And at this point, we have Jen Adrian and Paul Sutton, our VP of South Sound and VP of Communications. So somewhere in there, they will be joining us, as well as a future episode with our volunteers. We've got a pretty good list of folks after that that I need to get back to be guests on the show. So if I haven't got back to you, sorry, I'll get back to you soon. Again, I want to thank everybody who replied to a LinkedIn message or a LinkedIn comment that I had the other day about who should be on the show. Thank you so much. And that's the list I'm talking about. If I haven't got back to you, just sorry, I'll get back to you. If you're interested in knowing how to support not just our channel, but our chapter, like I said, we're a nonprofit. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I kind of talked about that at length for a couple of minutes earlier. If you're a marketer in this area, the Puget Sound region, please join us. We're not just in Seattle. That's why we're called Puget Sound. So our coverage area is like a 50-mile radius of Seattle. So, we cover all the way up to Everett, almost down to Olympia. East side, like past Bellevue, onto like Bainbridge and further. The rest is water. So if you live in a houseboat, that works too. So join us. And if you are a member, we need your help. We need your help. We have so many plans, and we're open to other ideas, but we need help. As a small team, we can't do it alone. So we need help. And then, like I said, if there's anything you would like to see in a topic or a guest in the future, please comment below. Other than that, I've been rambling for about 18 minutes and I'm very sorry. But thank you so much. I'm going to say it again. Have a wonderful weekend. We're almost in the weekend. If you're in the Seattle region, or if you're outside the Seattle region, the snow is gone for the most part. So yay. If you do have snow, I am very, very sorry. If you're in Virginia, I'm very sorry. I hope you're okay. All right. I'm going to leave you with that. And thank you all so much. Have a great day.